Hello everyone, NATO here. I am at the Capitol steps here in Des Moines, Iowa to bring some sad news. Yesterday, Sunday, former Governor Robert Ray passed away at the age of 89. He was a 5-term governor of Iowa from 1969 to 1983. He was known as the first modern governor of Iowa, bringing in the creation of the Iowa Department of Transportation and Iowa Department of Natural Resources. He's native of Des Moines, Iowa, and he was the first Iowa governor to live in Terrace Hill after Terrace Hill was donated to the state of Iowa in the early 70s. His wife Billy had a cookbook that was out in the mid 70s from Terrace Hill. You can actually still get that book around Iowa. It's actually really good. There's some recipes in there that I actually want to try, so I'm going to work on that. It's really sad to hear that Governor Ray has died. I met him a couple of times and heard a lot of really fond stories about him from a lot of people. He was a really popular governor. In fact, when Governor Ray wanted to retire in 1983, the people of Iowa were going to re-elect him anyway, and he had to, say, "I'm not running, guys. I'm not running. I'm going to do something else." And he did. He was very successful. He became the president of local insurance companies, and he actually ended up making them into what is now known as the Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Iowa. So that was Governor Ray after he retired from the governorship. He was also interim mayor of Des Moines in 1997, and then became the president of Drake University here in Des Moines in 1998, serving for a few years before retiring to private life. Governor Ray received an award, actually called the Iowa Award. It's the highest award anyone from Iowa can get, and it was awarded to him by Governor Tom Vilsack, a Democrat. And it was, talked about, looking back at Ray's tenure, who was a Republican, that, those were some pretty scary times that we at Iowa got through. And Governor Ray kind of looked back and said, "Yeah, they were pretty rough, but they were some fun times too." I mean, he took it in stride. In fact, the Republican Party, not only of Iowa but of the entire country, when Ray became governor, was in a bit of a shell shock. You had just had the election of 1964 with Barry Goldwater versus Lyndon Johnson, which didn't go very well. And then you had, the Vietnam War going on. The Democrats were kind of winning everything at the time. The state house was run by Democrats. The six, at the time we had 6 districts, congressional districts in Iowa. All but one of them was controlled by the Democrats. And then, Governor Ray, he tried to run for Polk County attorney, and he lost in the 50s. And then he tried to run for the state house as a assembly member. He lost that election, but then at the age of 35, he became the state GOP chairman and revolutionized the way the party worked. He completely he started correlating efforts with all the members of the Republican Party, all the candidates, and that very next election cycle, Iowa's Republicans take 3 out of the 6 congressional seats away. So that's pretty cool, actually, that he was able to flip half of the congressional seats from Democrat into a Republican. And this was also the time when Senator Culver from Iowa was a very powerful senator in Iowa, and because of Governor Ray's leadership and the revival of the Republican Party in Iowa, it led to Charles Grassley being able to win that election. I believe it was in 1980 election, election where people were trying to pressure Governor Ray to run to that Senate seat, but he declined. He was also on the short list for President Ford's vice president in his bid for election, but he did not receive an official offer. But he was really well known internationally and throughout the entire country as being a very, very popular and very, very well respected governor. And it's really sad that he's gone. He was, Terry Branstad, who was known as being the longest serving governor of Iowa, was the lieutenant governor under Governor Ray. And the current governor, Kim Reynolds, was talking about how Governor Ray was very helpful and supportive of her and her governorship, and as lieutenant governor and even as a state assembly member, how he was a very good insight of information and support. And I'm just really glad to hear that people are still able to build off of his momentum, and that people are still able to learn and get support from Governor Ray. I mean, if you're supported by Governor Ray, we should all support you. I don't know if there should even really be much of a comparison at this point. I mean, for that guy being that popular that they didn't even want to let you retire. If Governor Ray supports you, I'm going to support you. And I mean, there's actually streets here named after Governor Ray while he was still alive. And there's also conference centers and rooms in this Capitol building named after Governor Ray. For politicians, that's almost unheard of. In the United States, I think the only other person, well, there's two. George Washington obviously had a city named after him while he was still alive, because they were founding the city named Washington D.C. But I don't believe he ever lived there, and I know he never ran the government from there. He actually ran the government from Philadelphia, and then from his home in Mount Vernon. The only other living politician who have something named after him while alive is Barack Obama in Richmond, Virginia, where there's a high school that was renamed Barack Obama High School from the Jefferson Davis, which was the Confederate president during the U.S. Civil War. So other than that, I think they're the only three people in American politics who've ever had a building or a city or anything named after them while they were still alive. It's just unheard of in Iowa, and the fact that the city of Des Moines named a street after him in this building that's owned by the legislature and owned by the people of Iowa, supported this, shows his support and the love that the state of Iowa had for him, not only as a governor, but as a gentle human being who had the best interest of all Iowans at his back. I mean, that's incredible if you really think about it. When it's all said and done, and you say your last goodbyes, the only thing you have left in this world is your legacy. And as far as legacies go, the modern governorship of Iowa is all thanks to Governor Ray. And I mean, I don't really know what else to say. If you're that, I mean, I'm kind of sad, I only got to meet him a couple times, but I've never heard anyone ever say anything bad about him, ever. I mean, Democrat or Republican, I've never heard any side ever say anything bad about Governor Ray. He party leadership, his powerful reconstruction of the Republican Party in Iowa. I mean, if you think about it, from 1969, I mean, he replaced a very, very powerful Democratic governor, taking control from Governor Hughes at the time, Democrat, and having Republican leadership at the State House and the governorship from 1969 to the early 1990s when Branstad initially retired. That's a long time. If the Republicans, under Ray's leadership and his momentum, were able to hold control, and Vilsack did okay. Culver, who was the son of the former Senator Culver, that thanks to Governor Ray's momentum and push, helped beat, but with the help Charles Grassley being elected in the 1980s, early 80s in that election. But a lot of what makes the Republican Party in Iowa what it is Governor Ray. And the Republican Party of Iowa is what the rest of the country's Republican Party is modeled after. Along with our Constitution and practically everything else about our state government, most other states copied Iowa and almost entirely. And that's the legacy that Governor Ray will always have. So I'm not planning on doing anything on Thursday for his memorial here, but it's a sad day for all of Iowa, and I just hope everyone out there is doing well. I hope you're enjoying the summer. I hope that you're participating in the election some way or some form. I hope you guys had a good 4th, and I hope you all do well. I wish you all my best, and until next time, peace out.